This here is the 1994 Toyota HIace. Now, as you can see, this one is in pretty rough condition with rust basically everywhere. And with these older cars, the rust, if not treated immediately, will turn into holes. And unfortunately with this car, there is a few holes all around the joint. Now, I've always wondered with these honest cars, you see them everywhere, why people don't just fix this rust, because I see it all the time. These older HIaces get rust here, it leaks down, and it looks horrific, but no one ever steps to fix it. And these cars are known to go forever. So I thought, you know what, why don't I try? Because I realized quickly why people don't. It's the price and money. These cars, they're almost 30 years old, some cases are over 30 years old. It's not worth putting the money into fix these cars, the sad reality is of it, because you can get a newer one, like even a 2010 one, for about, I don't know, 10, 15 grand. So why fix it up when you get a newer one anyway? What comes with doing it on your own though is a car like this, the paint's so aged and so old, when you get new paint, even if you match it to the paint color, right, exact code, it's still not gonna match because of how old and bad the paint is, because it's just been sitting in the sun. Mix that with the rust, it'll never match. But yeah, of course, the reason you're doing this probably isn't just for aesthetics, it's to get on top of the rust. And here where I am in Victoria, we have roadworthies. If a cop sees your car's a bit messed up, defected, you'll have to get a new roadworthy, which means the entire car has to be in complete mechanical order, and they are really strict. A car like this, a simple hole like that will avoid this car ever being put on the road again. And then you've got this car, which you can't even sell because everyone wants a roadworthy these days. So you just got to get on top of it early, smash it out. If it doesn't match perfectly, it doesn't really matter. Just do the best you can. Best thing to do is avoid the rust ever coming back. While I'm at it, I'm also going to be doing a basic service. So I've got oil filter and an air filter. And these air filters are actually located, being a mid-engine car, under the front rear wheel well. So you have to go under the car and the air filter is right here. Air gets sucked in here, goes through the air filter and into the engine. And the same goes, there's no bonnet, so you have to go through the rear seats to get to the engine. And that's actually how you change the engine oil. Like I was saying, the engine is under here, so it's pretty simple. All you have to do is drop these seats, which is a lever on both sides, like that, and then you just simply lift it up. Then you'll see a little strap here. Just simply drop it a bit, get the strap in, and then there you go, and then here's the engine. Alright, so I've already taken the oil cap off, so this is a block, carbureted, simple engine. Now it's time to go under the car and drain the oil. Always a good idea to have one of these. This is a brake. This is a breaker bar, and then you have this. This jumps on the oil filter, and you use this with the breaker bar to loosen it. Because these old school cars, you don't know how long this has probably been serviced for. And, you know, it's probably really stubborn as well. So it's always a good idea to have one. Worst thing you want to do is get here, having a service, and you can't get the thing off. Right, so I'm under the car here. That's the transmission. That's the block. That's the drain cob. I haven't jacked the car up and it's on jack stands, just so I couldn't be bothered. So I've got a bit of room, which should be enough. Conveniently, the oil filter's right here, which I love. So, time to undo it. With space being tight under here, I'm just going to break it, then loosen it all by hand, just so I can just throw it straight under. I always make a mess of this on my hand. So I'm either going to just drop this little thing into the oil and then fish it out later, or if I could try my best. If you got any tips on how to not make a mess, let me know. Like, I can feel the thread is ending. Oh, look at that! First time ever. Good time to inspect the oil. Look, it looks fairly dirty, but it's nothing too bad, you know. It's flowing nicely at least. Once that's finished draining, it's time to take the oil filter off. You just want to wait till it's finished, otherwise I create a massive mess. Alright, oil filter. Generally these are meant to be only hand tight. They never fucking are though, but I'm going to try anyway, but I highly doubt it. Would you look at that? Fucking tight as. Not the strongest man, but that's fucking tight. As you can see, I've got a breaker bar on it, and all you do is you just pull, or push or whatever, and then, might need to adjust it a few times, but yeah, you just keep doing that until it comes off. Now it's all clean, just tighten it again, just so you can actually grip it, otherwise you can't grip it enough. Grip it like so, and then I clean off this. Just move this out the way. Again, just, you know, it's already fairly clean, but just enough. And then you just tighten this up. Pretty straightforward. You know, this is something you want to do relatively tight. You don't want it loosening, but you don't want to over tighten it. Just like that, that's tight enough. You don't need to go completely crazy. You don't have to do this, this doesn't really matter, but I like to check the oil, just see if it's burnt. any metal crisps, and like honestly at face value this looks pretty good. This HIace has almost 500,000 kilometers, and that's you know, that looks pretty clean for what it is. I think it hasn't had an oil change in a minute. That's not too bad. Then I get under the car and just have a gaze. Like you can clearly see this transmission is been leaking for quite some time now. But as far as the block, look, it does look dirty and it looks old and caked, but that doesn't look that bad for what it is. Like there's better oil spill from me, but that looks very old. Like I would say there's nothing recently spilling crazily anywhere. Like it doesn't look crazy. And no oil has leaked since I've been here. So I think this engine's in fairly good health for what it is as far as oil leaks are concerned. This transmission's probably seen a bit better days, but it's not crazy either. Right, air filter time. This is a carby one. Generally, you'd think the air filter's in the engine bay or something near it. This one is actually not. As you can see, that's the intake, like where the air goes in, because it's a mid-engine car. So the airbox is actually located right here. There's a little screw. You undo it, the airbox comes out, and this is what the air filter looks like. It's really long, and so, you know, it goes straight in basically. What a great day for Melbourne, by the way. I always try and recognise these in my videos. What a fucking day. Okay, so, as I said, we're under the car now. Right there is the screw. Hand tight, you just loosen it and it'll drop out. Okay, once those two are off, here's another hand tight screw and there's the air filter. Okay, so here it is, the old air filter. Again, compare, you know, they look very similar, basically the same. And obviously this top part goes in first, but fuck me dead, look at the filth on this thing. Like even this is what was holding it in. Look at that dust. That's what your intake is just filtering out. So you gotta, this is why you change them, you know. But yeah, what a difference. All right, the same procedure, you just chuck that one in, put the little screw on, and then put that one on, screw on, simple as. Okay, tightening the screw, you wanna do it fairly tight, but nothing crazy. Just so when it's vibrating, this doesn't want to fall out. Last thing you want to do is this come out. Same with this screw, fairly tight, nothing crazy. Alright, we're just about done the service. Now the most important part is just filling up the oil. Being the smart cunt I am, I didn't bring a funnel, so I'm just going to have to send this and hope I don't make a mess. I'm going to go from there and put it in here, just so I have some room. And yeah, I'll see how I go. Alright, cocked up a bit, nothing crazy. So, just put the oil cap on. Now, people like to check oil in different ways when they fill it up. I think the oil's already sunk to the bottom, so I'm just going to go straight off the dipstick. Other than that, that's basically that for the servicing component of the car. Alright, so you can see the rust. This is probably like not even the worst of it. The worst I think is in the inside, which I can stick my finger through, which is completely gone. Rust that bad where your finger can go through it, or it's just completely through, you can't just put converter on it, it's a spray. You need to bog that, fix it up, respray it, sand it, bog it again. Well time consuming. For this stuff, the outside, that's what you want, rust converter. You basically sand this back to the metal, because it's mainly surface, a bit is gone through. You rust convert it so it doesn't come back hopefully, and then you paint over it. Like I said earlier, this car's very old. This paint is so shot, like it's just, you gotta do whatever you can. Best thing you can do is avoid getting on the windows or where you don't want it. So I'm just gonna use a bit of paper and just cover it and then respray. But first things first is sanding it. Now the major areas is around this main window, and then I'm gonna around the body of the car, and then any spots I see, I'm just gonna sand it all back. So first things first, sanding it. Right, so I have 3 different types of sandpaper. I've got P80, which is a really rough grit paper. I use that to get most of this shit off. Then I have P230, which is a bit more finer, better for painting on. So that's the plan, start by sanding it. Now obviously this is no how-to. This is done on a budget, just to fix the issue, not really aesthetics mainly. But let's see what happens. Hardest part is around here. It's so hard and tight to get to. I'm just gonna have to do it with my finger, pause. But yeah, that's the only issue really. Other than that, it's coming out smoothly. Obviously this is the roughest sandpaper, but just gotta keep going at it. It's one of those things you can't rush, you just gotta take your time. And more strokes you do, pause, the better. That right there is about as close to going through as it gets. As you can see, that is wholly there. That metal is so thin. Like, that's gonna be really tough with the rust converter. I don't know what's gonna happen there, but I think it's just enough that it should be all right. All along here, then the roof, same idea, just keep sanding. Now you can see the roof has its spots, but because it doesn't sit up here, there's no water sitting on the roof really, it's not too bad. But when you come here, this is where the water sits, all along here. That's why it's so bad, especially like here. So I'm gonna smash this out. I'm not gonna worry too much about the roof because it's just completely surface, it's not worth it. But along here, that's what I'm gonna, you know, put my focus on really. All these spots right here. Okay, so you see this? That's munted, that's a hole. So I'm gonna take it really easy over this. That's very soft. Even over there, that's just so soft, holy, that it's not worth it. Like, I'll touch it up, but I'm gonna go very, very easy over that because that will just fall straight. I'm just gonna have a look. You got basic stuff like that, but that's just nothing really. Not worth touching it up, I don't think. But, you know, there's just stuff like that, there, and then there's this. Now that is full on. Like, that is so gnarly. Now that's about as gnarly as it gets. So I'm gonna just like go over it with the sandpaper and then respray over it. It's still solid, luckily, but that's so gnarly. There's probably a better way to fix this, but for what I've got, I'm just gonna sand it and spray it. Check it out if you want to see the review. Now that the paint is nice and dry, enough that you can touch it without having any worries, it's time for this. Now, you leave this in the sun or warm it up, whatever, because the paint's viscosity will be thinner because it's hotter, right? So it comes out a lot better, you're less likely to get runs. I want to avoid runs in this situation. I don't give a shit too much about the primer, but this, you want to do no runs. So I don't mind if I have to you know, go over it 3 times. It is what it is. It's not much painting anyway, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Layer 1 is done. You know, I didn't get too many runs. You're probably looking at it and think it looks rubbish. But remember, I'm not a professional painter and this is a professional job. There's a lot of better materials you could use and there's a lot of more money you could spend. But for the job it is, I think most of this rust should never come back again, if not for a long time. Like, I've covered up most of it. Now it's just a factor of doing more layers and then completing it. You can see it's not perfectly matching. Obviously you can see through it for now, that's why you do a few more layers. But for what it is, it looks alright. I'm guessing this car's probably been touched up before. A lot of these spots looks like there's overspray and things already. So I'm assuming someone's already gone over it. Alright, third and final coat. This coat's mainly just to get rid of all this shit. I'm going to get a cork piece and I just go over all these black parts and the rubbers and that gets it all off, so I'm not too worried. It's mainly just keeping off the window, that's the biggest thing. And then yeah, just keep going over it. Alright, it's done. As you can see, it didn't match because obviously the paint's so old. I went around the border, just cleaned up the blacks and all that. And then other than that, like, you know, it doesn't just scream rust anymore. Like, it's obvious the spots. There's nothing you're gonna ever do about that. But like, close this. Look at it. Looks so much better. You know, there's obviously spots, but you know, what do you do with the car this age? There's no rust anymore. Shouldn't come back in a hurry. All the top's done. Just doesn't scream Rustmobile anymore like it used to. Now, if you want to see the full video on this car, the review, that'll be out in a week's time, or it could be out already, depending on when you're watching this. You know, it's a nice car. Like the video, subscribe. I'm trying to get more subscribers, more likes, therefore more people see it, and I can do shit like this more regularly and make more videos.